Hello, beautiful people of our beloved country, to all Ghana loving Ghanaians. Yes, it's Nyantakyi, Ghana, and today I'm raising a counter to an editorial Paul Adom-Otchere has presented, which I believe is, yes, he has made some valid points, but they are out of context with respect to the subject matter. He's trying to give reason why the Ghana national team has lost in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. I have done my best to listen to his editorial. I think it's a segment of it, and I'll take them some of the points, and I will say some few things. Now, so he said, where the number 12 expose on Nyantakyi's corruption scandal has brought us, i.e. Ghana. And he's, in summary, trying to suggest that that expose, that documentary that led to Nyantakyi's dismissal, sack, or he used the word he's been ditched, is the reason the national team has lost, which I disagree. But again, there are some things he said in the editorial which are facts, but I don't think they are applicable to the outcome of the tournament that we've just been kicked out of as the Ghana national team, the Black Stars. So he started by saying that the chickens have come home to roost, i.e. the outcome of the sack is now playing. Now, he used a scripture in the Bible and said that Galatians, which is, he didn't give the scripture, but I will give it. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, where it says, "Don't be deceived, God is not mocked. For whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." But again, I'm not sure whether that scripture is to question Nyantekyi or to Ghanaians, because there's only one person that has reaped something out of their own seeds that they've sown. But I'm not going to dwell there. And that's the scripture he gave. And then I will give him this scripture. Paul Adom-Otchere. There's another scripture that says, Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7. "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom. And in all thy getting, get understanding." Because I'm saying, inasmuch as some of your assertions are facts that needs to be addressed, they are not applicable to the outcome of Ghana national team in the ongoing African Cup of Nations 2022. So, he stated, we Ghanaians are sowing what we reap. Again, that's his statement, but I think he wants to say Ghanaians are reaping what they have sowed. But he said we are sowing what we have reaped, the other way around. But Mr. Otchere, it is Ghanaians are reaping what they have sowed. In effect, again, he's saying it is as a result of Nyantakyi being ditched. And now, he said the Galatians chapter 6 verse 7, he said that, don't be deceived, and therefore people will be deceived. No. Mr. Otchere, that is not what the scripture is saying. The scripture is not saying that people will be deceived. The scripture is saying the individual that is sowing the seed should not deceive him or herself. Because whatever seed you sow, you will reap the fruit thereof. So again, no, that's not what the scripture means, that people will be deceived. No, the scripture is saying whatever seed you sow, don't be deceived that you're going to sow a corn seed and then expect to harvest yam. That's not going to happen. That's what the scripture is saying. But we're not going to do any preaching stuff here today. So I'll carry on and I'll take the points step by step and we carry on. Quite a lengthy one, but very important. Now, beautiful. Now, he said the chickens have come home to roost as a result of the documentary that led to Kwesi Nyantakyi's ditch. I don't think so. I don't think that is the reason why our national teams have performed the way they have. Whilst he was in office, the national team has performed seemingly good, bad from time to time. So I think you're not getting exactly the reason for our national teams to perform the way they perform and how they fail from time to time. It is not the ditching of Kwesi Nyantakyi that is the reason. It has other reasons, and you have given many reasons which we are going to go through. Now, he then went on to talk about the journey of Kwesi Nyantakyi to becoming the GFA boss. Again, that journey and becoming the GFA boss, how is that going to help the performance of the players on the pitch? Kwesi Nyantakyi was not a coach. He was just the GFA boss. He was not a player. He is not a player on the pitch. So he being ditched could impact other things. But to say that is the reason for the performance we have achieved, we have gotten, Mr. Otchere, you got to come again. Now, let's carry on. He linked Kwesi Nyantakyi to CAF, FIFA leaders, how he is friend to the likes of Issa Hayatou, Seblata, and Jerome, etc. Again, how is those links, those association that Kwesi Nyantakyi has with these various federation leaders, how is that going to affect the performance of our players? But anyway, you have put that in your editorial, and I'm not sure what you're trying to achieve by using the failure of our national team to do this editorial, whether it's an attempt to use a bad situation to vindicate. I'm not sure whether he's your friend. The whole editorial, I don't think is in place as far as the outcome of the Cup of Nations for Ghana is. So he carried on. He carried on to say how when Issa Hayatou comes to Ghana, Kwesi Nyantakyi drives him around in his car. This part of the editorial that Paul Adom-Otchere gave. How is Kwesi Nyantakyi driving Issa Hayatou in his car going to help the performance of our players? I'm quite surprised that you could not identify, or Mr. Otchere could not identify the fact that our players have attitude problem. Compare their performance, their behavior when they are even called. Even from the previous, some of the previous Black Star members, it has always been disciplinary issues. Behaviors that are not consistent to performing well on the pitch. We hear these things. So I don't agree with you to say that because the documentary that exposed or brought some facts out that the GFA boss, the then GFA boss, which is who is the Kwesi Nyantakyi, has is the reason for the poor performance in the Cup of Nations. Anyway, I'll not dwell too much on that. So he went on and said the documentary came out, and how he then now began to talk about the character, because when he started, he said he wants to address national character that do not help us, which of course to some extent I agree. So he now began to talk about the documentary and how the national character that he's referring to, Pull Me Down, calling out for Nyantekyi to be sacked, how people wrote letters to the FIFA, etc., etc. Now, I want to ask, he then also said that people say, Yachio, and he said, who has been cheated? I am not sure. Now, yes, the behavior of our fellow Ghanaians may raise questions, but are you trying to say that the documentary that has some facts that requires investigation, that needs not to be investigated because Nyantekyi has gone through the ranks and has found himself in position? You see, this is some of the challenges we have when we allow our leaderships to lord over us because they have gone through a journey to be there. So we think they actually, it's by right they are there. They should not be questioned. Mr. Otchere, you have to come again on that. Yes, I'm not saying that if Ghanaians are acting in a way as you have put it, pull me down attitude, we don't have to address it. But again, when people are called to question because there is reason for that, we need to investigate. Right. So you went on to say, Mr. Otchere went on to say that if you cannot get to the level where he is, you should not pull him down. That's fine. That's a fair comment. And once any individual is at the top, they don't have to become complacent in the fact that they have achieved something in life, therefore involve themselves in questionable behavior. Mr. Otchere, yes, it is not okay for Ghanaians to pull others down, but if we watch individuals either by themselves or by collective effort, they have gone to the top, it's no reason for them not to follow through with policies and procedures, or to be diligent and be transparent in their affairs. The documentary has evidence of corruption. Whether he has or he has not, it needs to be investigated. So I'm not sure why you're picking on that as a reason why the national team has lost or has not performed well in the, the Africa Cup of Nations. Even whilst Nyantakyi was there, the Black Stars have performed poorly in some tournaments. And I can only attribute that to the indiscipline, lack of commitment, the will to win, the desire to perform exceptionally for country, rather than he being ditched as the reason why the Comoros Islands scored Ghana. And then you were sizing Comoros Island as they are not anything to write home about, but their performance shows that they deserve to win. They played a game. They came to win, and their behavior proved that they came to win. Look at the way our players are running, as though they've been beaten the day before. Look at all their performance in all the 3 games they have played. How could you attribute that to Nyantekyi being sacked is the reason that the players are not running, are not committed? When they go in for tackles, they're not committed. They are twisting and turning around. When the Comoros are passing the ball and running, those days of twisting and turning in football is there, but it is a team play. It's a team effort, collective effort. Anyway, I'm not coming to do any coaching here, but let me stick to some of your points that you have raised because, yes, Mr. Otchere, you have been in the journalism for a long time, but this, your editorial, I think, is out of context. Let me carry on. Then you then went on to say that if you cannot get to the level he is, you should not pull him down. That's fine. So long as the person in the high office is delivering as per his responsibilities, transparent and duty conscious for country and people, no one should dare to pull them down. And yes, we should all rally around one another from time to time when an individual that is delivering, that is performing, producing the result required, and anyone attempts to pull them down, we should rally around that individual. But in this context, as far as Kwesi Nyantakyi's case is concerned, there were evidence that there were some questionable practices. If it needs investigating, so be it. And you can't liken that, or you can't attribute that to the failure of the national team. It's either he's your friend, your father, your daddy, or whatever, and you're trying to vindicate him with a bad situation of the national team. And you then said that Nigerians will not behave that way. I'm not sure what you're trying to say as far as that one is concerned. Now, anyway, you then went on, it's quite a big thing, but I'll try and go through quick. You then went on to say that how you went on and Mr. Otchere, Paul Adom-Otchere. He then went on to say how Kwesi Nyantakyi got to his position, even to the point of being on the FIFA Council. It's okay. It's okay that he started from nothing and got into a point. But being at that level is no reason for him to participate in certain things. Things that raise questions. In effect, Mr. Otchere, you seem to suggest that if people begin from nothing and become something, and they are found to be questionable in their behavior and deliverables, they should be left alone. Is that what you're trying to say, Mr. Otchere? I think you have to release into your own editorial again and look at it in the context and see how the journey of Kwesi Nyantakyi to the point of being on the FIFA Council and being ditched because an evidence has come against him is the reason Ghana has lost to the Comoros. No, Mr. Otchere, that is not it. Your assertion is out of context. But again, I agree with you that when we have people in leadership that are in position and they are delivering, the pull-down attitude should not apply. You then suggested that big coaches that have achieved something in their various premiership or professional endeavors were then beginning to want to coach Ghana or to coach the Black Stars. And you said that is because of the Kwesi Nyantakyi's position and leadership and has brought. No, it is because of the performance of the players. At the time, the national team was showing some commitment, some will, zeal, desire to win. And every coach will love to coach players that will play their heart out on the pitch. Tell me that those are players. Until there were one player, Dandede Ayew, was thrown out of the game, they were barely running. So you can't say that because Kwesi Nyantakyi has achieved something and he is in the FIFA Council is the reason that various coaches want to work with the Black Stars. No, it was because of their performance at the time, the commitment, the zeal, the energy with which they play. And then he went on to say, but due to the documentary, which is the documentary on the corruption scandal, he was sacked. Yeah, they just have to investigate if truly something has happened. That documentary suggests that something went on or something has been going on. But again, I'm not sure how that is a contributing factor to Ghana being defeated by the Comoros. Then he went on to say how Kwesi Nyantakyi built himself into GFA position and progressed into FIFA 24, i.e. the council. And He was in pole position and could have been the CAF president. And a level of respect Ghana would have received if he became CAF president. Of course, Ghana could achieve some respect because he is a CAF president and serving on the FIFA board and then anything else. But administratively, in terms of lobbying and anything else that does administrative aspect of football, yes, maybe that could help Ghana host the Africa Cup of Nations again and again, or possibly, who knows, if we up our game, could hold the World Cup. But to say that will reflect into the performance of the players on the pitch, maybe, I'm not sure if you have played football before, or you've gone to one of the secondary schools where football is top-notch. I have been to one, right? And I don't think that the administrative structure, the lobbying to bring things to a country's football or not, is the determining factor for the performance of the players, Mr. Otchere. Now, let's carry on. You've said a lot, so I'm trying to catch up on all that you have said, okay? So, you then said if we should have allowed him, or if Ghana people should have allowed him to carry on, and when he gets into position as the CAF president, how he would have carried us along. Maybe. But you went on to say that you went on to cite how various tournaments, the mood of Ghanaians, the support, the energy in the country, it was all because of the performance of the team, the commitment that the players were showing at the time. That is what encouraged Ghanaians to rally around them, not Kosi Nyantakyi's position. No. Probably you have to do your research again. It was the performance of the players, their commitment, their desire to play, to the point that some of them, even when they are professional teams don't want to give them the time off to come and play for Ghana, they threaten to leave. Such commitment has driven that energy that you are talking about as far as support for the national team is concerned. Where is the energy? What energy did our team that just lost to Comoros has shown? So it is not Kosi Nyantakyi's achievements. Of course, administratively, he has done what needs done. But when it comes to playing on the pitch, no. Right. Almost there. You again said that the chicken are home to roast because Kosi Nyantakyi, who has a lot to offer Ghana's football, is ditched. That's debatable. In what context? Administratively or playing on the pitch? And he said he's been ditched because of hatred, jealousy, what have you. That could be true, but the evidence in the documentary suggests otherwise. Maybe you're referring to the aftermath of what you said. People were writing to the FIFA and calling him out for him to be sacked and what have you. But it is what it is. But as far as the performance on the pitch is concerned, it's got nothing to do with Kosi Nyantakyi's removal from office as a GFA boss. You went on to say the pull-down iron curtain syndrome should be pulled down. And that, which I agree. And again, if any individual is assigned a public or political position to deliver on behalf of the people, and they are delivering, and there's an attempt to work against them, yes, we don't have to support such behaviors. So you have a point, but not in the context of the performance of our players. So you said, little achievement syndrome, pull-down syndrome, hatred syndrome, envy, etc. Those should be removed. Yes, they should be removed. I agree. But not the performance that we have seen. And then we should install better mind, focused mind, developmental minds, minds that push, minds that add, not subtract, but multiply. And you kept on. Beautiful. But not when there's a question of something has gone wrong. That means that you want us to condone wrongdoing. We multiply, we add, and not subtract. When there's no evidence that someone in office, in leadership, is committing a crime or has done something wrong. So, Mr. Otchere, I'm not sure in what context you're saying that these syndromes should be removed and the add and multiplication aspect or mindset should be installed, which I agree, but not when leadership begs question. You went on to say the leadership can Nyantakyi build has been pulled down because envy, hatred, etc. resulted in Kwesi Nyantakyi's empire to be pulled down. Oh, his empire. I thought he was working for GFA. He was working for the Ghana Football Association and he represents Ghana in that capacity. You just said he has built an empire, his empire. He should be building empire for the country. So could it be true that that documentary, there's something in there to be investigated? These are your words. Your video is online. Mr. Paul Adom-Otchere. That's your own statement. That, I'll say it again, that you said Kwesi Nyantakyi's leadership has been pulled down and it has resulted as because of hatred and all the various vices that you have listed, and that has resulted in his empire to be pulled down. Not Ghana's empire, not the GFA's empire, but Kwesi Nyantakyi's empire. Anyway, we'll leave it there. That's what you said. It was in the context of his empire that Ghana's football was beginning to see the light of day. His empire, not GFA. So he has an individual thing going on whilst he was a GFA boss. Is that what you're saying? Because you keep referring to the fact that Kwesi Nyantakyi has his empire, which was contributing to his leadership. I thought he was representing GFA. And GFA is Ghana. And if there be any empire at all, it should be GFA empire. But that's what you said. You can re-listen to your own message and then come back at me if you want. But those are my questions and those are my counter to your editorial because it is out of context. You're trying to use a bad situation, i.e. the poor performance of the Black Stars to vindicate, probably he's your friend, I don't know. You went on to say some other things like Ghana's performance prior to this time round, as a result, you said because of Kwesi Nyantakyi's position, his involvement with FIFA, having FIFA leadership as a friend, Issa Hayatu as a friend, and stuff like that. You then said that when Ghana lost matches, white people are crying. You then said white people, and then you stress on it. I want to ask, what is so special about white people crying for Ghana national team? I think it's about time we emancipate ourselves from that mental slavery, that when white people do things for black people, we are amused out of the ordinary. They are human like us. It's okay for a black person to cry because a white person has done something that is emotional. But if a white person cries because a black person has done something that is emotional, You are citing it as a reason? Come on. And that white people cry when Ghana lose matches, all because of Nyantakyi's achievement. You went on to talk about the World Cup in South Africa, how Ghana lost to Uruguay, and Nelson Mandela and his wife cried. Yes, because Ghana was performing. The players were committed. They were performing. Even that lost to Uruguay, I blame it to Asamoah Gyan. That exactly, when you talk about removing pull-down attitude and having support for one another, that's what you should be talking about. Because that South Africa tournament, I followed it so much, and that was the time that I don't want to have any heartache with Ghana playing football. Stephen Appiah, experienced player, picked the ball to play the penalty. Asamoah Gyan snatched the ball from him. Those are the things you should be talking about. Those sort of indiscipline on the pitch is what you should be talking about. Not trying to vindicate a friend by saying that Ghana losing the game to or getting defeated by Comoros is because Kwesi Nyantakyi's scandal that led to his removal as a GFA boss is the reason. Mr. Otchere, you got to do better. You've been in this job for long, and you should be doing better, and you should be doing things in the interest of country and people, not playing cronyism or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because I listened to it, I'm trying to liaise the whole editorial to what has transpired in Cameroon. And he went on to say how after Ghana scored USA white people, again he said the white people were supporting Ghana. What is wrong if the white people support Ghana? What is so special about this? Are they not human like us? It's okay for black people to support white people, but when white people support Ghana, oh yes, it's extraordinary. And I'll just use this opportunity to say some few things. We speak English. We speak their language. We learn all their language. But when we see a white person speaking Twi, we are amused out of the ordinary. We try our best to mention their names. When they mention our name right, we are amused out of the ordinary. No, they are human like us. And we should have been demanding that they learn our languages too and pronounce our names properly. And so don't stand there, Mr. Otchere, and say white Americans were supporting or crying for Ghana because Ghana lost the match. What are you talking about? And he said that is because Kwesi Nyantakyi has taken Ghana's football, the Black Stars, to a certain level. That is the reason why we're getting the response that we're getting from white people and foreigners wanting to support, or the coaches, high-level coaches wanting to work with Ghana. No, Mr. Otchere, that was not the reason. It is not Nyantakyi's administrative connections is the reason. It was because the Black Stars were showing some commitment. The players, when they are called for national assignment, they are committed. They perform. They play their heart out on the pitch. You see, we have to come up with this. I remember very well one of the tournaments that we're organizing, and what we call the local professionals, a team made up of local professionals, played their heart out to qualify for a tournament, and they were all sidelined because players who play abroad were called to come and play. And did they perform well? No. Even that particular tournament, I think they did not even get to quarterfinals, or they got knocked out in the quarterfinals. It's about time we have value for ourselves. If our local players, i.e. the national professional players, commit to help our team qualify, we should give them the chance to play. Because some of these are foreign players, they are sitting on the bench. They don't play. They don't play full time. They are substitutes. They buy our players and waste them. Gone are those days our players were playing first team. How many of our players are playing first team? You should be addressing those things. Not talking about Nyantekyi being sacked being the reason why they are not performing. When you bring a Team B player because he's abroad, how do you expect him to perform against a Team A player from another country? Mr. Otchere, come again. And you then said that Kwesi Nyantakyi went home with all the knowledge, and probably he is a consultant for Comoros, Cameroon, Mali, etc. If you're talking about pull-down attitude and also hatred and jealousy, if Kwesi Nyantakyi is not having such attitude, I should be expecting him to offer support to the guy who is in the office right now. Because if you are saying developmental mentality, support mentality is what we have to bring on board, then whether he is the GFA boss or not, whatever skills or administrative experience that he has links and contacts that can help the GFA administration to become influential in these governing bodies, he should offer it all the same. He should offer it all the same. And you finish off by quoting your scripture again to say, Isaiah, Galatians 6:7. Don't be deceived. And you say some will be deceived. Let me remind you, that scripture is not talking about people will be deceived. That scripture is talking about the individual sowing whatever seed he or she is sowing should not be deceived, because whatever seed they sow, they will reap. So I'm not sure whether this your scripture is actually referring to Kwesi Nyantakyi or to the national team or to Ghanaians. But I also remind you again, Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get understanding. To all Ghana loving Ghanaians, love you all till I come your way. God bless Mother Ghana. Long live the Fourth Republic. My counter to Pulldown's editorial. Thank you all.